Technically, martial arts is the art of war. It's basically the art of kicking the crap out of someone. Sorry. Hi Vanity Fair, Scott Adkins here. Today I'm going to walk you guys through how a martial artist trains for a movie. I don't remember the first time I saw Bruce Lee, but I was growing up and Bruce Lee was just the best martial artist in the world. And Enter the Dragon would always be on TV late at night, so I think martial arts and films almost impacted me at the same time in a way. I remember starting judo at age 10, thinking I want to be like Bruce Lee. And then when I was about 13, I went into Taekwondo, and then I went into kickboxing, a little bit of capoeira, a little bit of Krav Maga, a little bit of Jeet Kune Do, a bit of Wushu Kung Fu. And then these days it's MMA. One of the great things about making movies is you always come into contact with masters of various different martial arts. I've met amazing people and have always been able to gain knowledge off these people. So the films has actually been great for that as well. My first experience in a martial arts film was a baptism by fire, let me tell you. It was called Extreme Challenge and it was directed by Stephen Dong-Wei, who's the little boy in Enter the Dragon, the one that gets slapped on the back of the head by Bruce Lee.
Never take your eyes off your opponent.
It was very difficult. I remember doing this one fight scene for 2 whole days on this raft in the middle of this lake with this other Wushu expert champion. I remember thinking, Jesus, this is difficult. This is hard work. I was ready to a degree, but I don't think anything can properly prepare you for it, especially if it's a Hong Kong movie, because it's just hardcore the way they do it. There's no rehearsal, period. You turn up on the day in a Hong Kong movie and the fight coordinator works out what that section of the fight's going to be and he shows it you, and then you've got to remember exactly what's been shown and repeat it at a level that is going to be able to be captured on film, and then that's it. It's going to be on film forever then. So it's very stressful when the other guy and yourself are moving at such fast pace, trying to remember what the next step is. It's so fast that actually you can't think of it. It's done on instinct. And if you make a mistake, if you don't duck at the right time, you're getting hit. Doing a Hong Kong martial arts movie as my first movie was great, to be honest, because I learned exactly how to do it the correct way. In an American or European movie, the typical way to shoot action would be, the way you do a drama. You'd have your master shot, wide shot, and then you come in and you get your coverage from this side and from this side, and then a close-up and a close-up. So if you do that with the fight sequence, you're going to end up doing the whole fight sequence from beginning to end many, many times. So by the time I've done it, I'm absolutely shattered. But the thing is, you can't do the whole fight scene from beginning to end at full speed and make it brilliant for every angle, every time. It's just impossible. But how much of that footage is going to be on the editing floor? Wasted. So the way the Hong Kong guys do it is that they will say, okay, we're going to do this section of the fight, 6 to 10 movements, whatever it is, and we're going to use this angle, and you're going to throw that kick, and I'm going to come, and the camera's going to come around here, and we're going to capture it beautifully. We're going to frame it perfectly. And then we know that we've got that section of the fight. We're going to move on to the next bit. That is basically the Hong Kong way. And it wasn't until The Matrix, when Yuen Woo-ping was the fight coordinator on The Matrix, that Hollywood actually did it the proper way. But then, at a certain point, they regressed, and the shaky cam came in. You didn't actually see the fight, you just heard it. The reason they're shaking the camera is to hide the shortcomings of the performers. That's the only reason to do it. I'm afraid the Bourne franchise, they don't shoot the fights properly. And Greengrass is a brilliant director, and there's a reason he does that shaky cam thing. It's more of a documentary style, and it puts you in the moment more. I was in the Bourne Ultimatum, and I didn't know which camera we were supposed to be making the punch work for. It had about 5 cameras going. Is it for this camera? Is it for that one? Or is it for this one? The films are great. I love them, but I'm glad we're not shooting fights like that anymore. Bloody hell. One fight scene that sticks out as a perfect, amazing fight sequence is Jackie Chan, Drunken Master 2, otherwise known as Legend of Drunken Master. I mean, there's many amazing fights that Jackie Chan's done, but this fight I want to point out particularly because I know that they spent 3 months just on the end fight, and it absolutely shows. Perfectly framed, it's brilliantly acted and performed by Jackie Chan, and he fights Ken Lo, who's known for his amazing flexibility and kicks. It's probably Jackie Chan working at his very, very best. What's difficult about it is that days on end, sometimes you can be doing it for a whole week. Every day you come in and you're fighting. And yes, it's not a real fight, but you're going at it the whole day for 12 hours straight. If you're a professional fighter, you get warmed up and you're warm and you do your thing. After 25 minutes, you're done. Yeah, you're going to be banged up and bruised. But the thing about film fighting, you can't stay warm for the whole day. It's impossible. So inevitably, you're going to cool down, you're going to pull a muscle, and then the next day, you've got to use that pulled muscle to do outrageous, crazy things for the whole next day. And then eventually that pulled muscle is a full-on injury. And this is what's so difficult about making martial arts films. It's hard not to get injured. The fight that I have with Jason Statham in The Expendables 2 was actually really easy to film. I was injured at the time. I tore my ACL. It had gone. But when they said action, to be honest, you don't really think about it. Your adrenaline gets going a little bit and you just get on with it. It's in between takes that it really hurts. But working with Jason was great because obviously he's a martial artist himself and he's very experienced with film fighting. The thing that most people don't understand about film fighting, it's got nothing to do with real martial arts. It's got more in common with dancing. A real martial artist will really struggle to show the technique to the camera. And they also have this thing in their head, well, that's not the right technique, I have to do the right technique. But no, you need to do what looks right for the camera. And Statham absolutely understands that. So it was a joy to work with him. The thing about making a fight sequence is that you're a partnership. Yeah, I'm trying to make it look like I'm trying to rip your head off. But the truth is, we're two performers working together to create this violent ballet. And really, trust is so important making a martial arts film. If I'm working with someone and I don't have the trust that they're going to be in the right position at the right time, or they might end up hitting me, then I'm not going to be able to go 100% because I'm going to be worried that this guy's going to make a mistake. Either he's going to hit me or I'm going to hit him. Obviously for the movies, you need to look the part, you need to look a certain way, so muscle mass is a part of that. You want to look like you're carved out of stone. But the thing about being a martial artist is it doesn't necessarily go hand in hand with martial arts. The bigger you are, the bulkier you are, it's going to slow you down, it's going to make you heavier. Sometimes I have to do gymnastic movements on film or flashy kicks. If I weigh more, it's much harder to do and it's a lot more pressure on the joints. But you better believe that I wasn't going to turn up on a set with Jason Statham, Schwarzenegger, Stallone looking out of shape. So we've got the pull-up. I'll start with a wide grip. That's going to put more emphasis on the muscles in my back. And then if you go for the underhand grip, you're going to actually recruit the biceps. And then you've got your push-up. I like to do these reps very slow and controlled. And then I move from side to side, so I'm really using my core. And then of course the squats. And the reason I like to do plyometric squats is because I'm a martial artist. I need to be able to jump high, I need to be agile, I need to move. So I like to train my legs in a very plyometric way. So when I did Doctor Strange, one of the main things that I needed to make sure I didn't mess up with the fight sequences with Benedict Cumberbatch, because he is Doctor Strange, as we all know. He's carrying the weight of the whole film. If something should happen to Benedict, the whole film's going to have to get shut down. The interesting thing about Doctor Strange is that all the other Marvel superheroes, most of them wear a mask. Doctor Strange does not wear a mask, so that means that Benedict's had to do the majority of the fights himself. It was very important for me to, as the trained martial artist, keep him safe and not kick Benedict in the face too hard. And so one of the things I use to train for the movies is Taekwondo paddle, and I will train some of my more athletic and the basics as well, but it's a way of keeping me accurate and understanding the distance to keep the other people safe. You don't want to be hitting them in the face when you're not supposed to. With Doctor Strange, I think I did a pretty good job in keeping Benedict safe, but there was this one day. There's a scene where my character, he runs up the wall, and then I jump onto this banister, I jump off the banister, and I have to sidekick Doctor Strange in the chest. So, you know, you're skating this fine line of, I need to make the kick look like it's a proper kick and that it hits and hurts him, but it's Benedict Cumberbatch, I can't hurt him. And it wasn't happening for us, and I don't like to keep people waiting, so I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to give him a little bit extra on this one, and I'm going to jump out a little bit further, and that should get the job done. And I think somebody may have said the same thing to Benedict, so he came even closer, and I hit him with a very hard flying side kick in the chest. And I just remember seeing Doctor Strange smash off the banister, making a sickening thud. But luckily for me, Benedict is a really nice guy. He took it in good spirits. And we got the shot, and it's in the movie. One thing that I do for every film, and as a martial artist, you've got to train your core. You have to have a strong core, because every time you kick, you're using your core. Every time you punch, you're using your core. A few exercises I like to do are the L-sit, which is a difficult exercise. And then I'll move on to what I call planked kettlebell pull-throughs. Another great exercise, which again is quite an advanced exercise, but I love it, are the windscreen wipers. And then the final one, and this is what you shouldn't forget about your core, it's not just about the abs, your core is your back as well. You need good back stability, so I've got a back extension, and I like to get on there and do back extension, holding a weight in front of me. And again, a slow and considered movement, but that's going to work your posterior chain and give you a great core, so you can do some great kicks. I don't really switch my training up depending on the film for the most part. I'm always training in martial arts, so I'm always ready to perform. I don't want to be caught off guard and go into a movie not ready to perform, because obviously that's what's expected of me. So I've got a little saying, and it is stay ready, and then you never need to get ready. The Debt Collectors was a tough shoot because we had to move fast. We didn't have a lot of time. That's why I need to go into this staying ready. We have a fight scene that opens the movie in a bar. It's me, the English kid, against all these loudmouth Americans that needed to be taught a lesson. At least that's what my character says, okay? We had half a day to shoot this fight. Not long enough at all. And the thing is, before the fight scene, there was a big monologue that I had to deliver to these guys. So there's always this sort of internal struggle where I've got the actor in me wanting more time for my monologue, and then I've got the martial arts action performer in me going, get the acting done, we need to make the fight good. It's just being able to move fast and having the experience to get things done and understand where the camera is at every time. I usually shoot fights with 2 cameras. I can make one technique work for this camera, and I know that I'm going to make the next technique work for this camera. I'm constantly juggling the editing in my own head.